Yeah, yeah. What they saying? I'm so divine, I'm so divine. Imperfection, perfection, my presence shines. My mental is parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine, I'm so divine. Imperfection, perfection, my presence shines. My mental is parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine.
Welcome to episode 33. It's the H.G.R.G podcast. What's going on, DT? What's up, Just Jerry? Here we are again, fellas.
33, guys. I think you know what I'm going to ask. Lance, you still with us?
I'm still here, man. I'm still here. You still hear me saying it. Welcome to the H.G.R.G podcast, baby. I'm here.
Sometimes people think it's recording.
Yeah, I'm about to say you just recording right now.
I'm here. It doesn't mean Lance is still with us, you know, at the end of this recording, just so you guys know. But yeah, we're here, we're still kicking. You know, we were talking about the other day. I know we go through a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of episodes and a lot of subject matter and whatnot, but it seems to be something that's very popular out there that we see is the BURR method.
What we do as well. So put that out there as well.
But I want to talk about the pros and the cons to the BURR method as well. And, you know, how it can benefit you and how you can get caught up as well if you don't do it properly, or if you wait and try to do multiple properties at the same time and do the BURR method and try to do that, you know, that blanket loan. So there's yeah.
Sounds like you might have a little experience there.
So we definitely want to talk about that, so that way people will know. It's like I said, we give both sides of everything, man. I'm sure you've never heard of that, you know, that blanket loan where you try to, you know, you wait and you have money to do multiple BURRs at the same time, basically try to pull all the money out, and then you get stuck. So we're going to talk about that today as well. But DT, let me ask you, explain what the BURR method is.
No.
It's cold outside.
Not what I want to talk about. I'm going to change the whole subject to, no, I'm joking. The BURR method is to buy, rehab, rent out, refinance, repeat. It's a method in which a lot of people use. It's very clickbaity. It's a lot something that people a phrase that people acronym that people grab onto, and they like to just say it. Hey, what do you do? I do the BURR method. But you know, in truth, maybe they really don't do quite that. But that's the way to describe it. I love the BURR method. It's definitely a way to you know, grow your empire. It doesn't happen really, really fast, but it's I mean, if you're thinking in a macro level, it's pretty quick. Micro, it's not. But long story short, it's definitely a method that I use, will use, have used, will continue to use, and recommend.
1,000%.
Right.
1,000%.
And obviously, that's a great explanation, you know, of the BURR method. That's the kind of breakdown of the acronym. Yeah. Just Jerry, I know you have experience with the BURR method. So let me ask you this. A lot of people go, you know what? I'm going to do the BURR method. I got the property. I have somebody in there.
That sounds great, bro.
Time to run to the bank.
So
is it that quick? Is it
absolutely? I'm a lot of you guys. I'm gonna do that. I want to do that all day.
As soon as you put somebody in there, you know, as soon as you buy the property, you get somebody in there, you know, a month from there, you can run right to the bank and refi, right?
Absolutely. That's what everybody else says.
Right.
We're not everybody else. All right.
I don't think so.
So
obviously the answer is what?
I wanted to touch up on what DT said. It's a great tool to use. If you're trying to get in real estate and you do not want to waste your money, it comes in increments. So you put the money out to now, and then you get the money back.
Yeah, you got to front the money.
Right? Yeah, you're front the money now, but you're getting the money back. So it's a method that you don't have to use all your capital or use some of your capital. So this is a great way to get in without jumping out of the window
or just say, Jerry, if you do use all your capital, you know that you're going to get it back, right? So you can use all your capital knowing that you're going to get it back as long as you do it correctly.
Right. So, but this is a step by step though. It's not, I'm going to put money in this month and you're going to get the money back next month. So it takes some time to get your money back, but you would be if you do it correctly, you will get your money back. When I say do it correctly is you have to buy an undervalued property and then work yourself into making it valuable. So what I say by that is you buy a property, you rehab it, you fix it up a little bit, rent it out, and then you refi. But if there's steps, you see how there's many steps. You have to get to the refi to get your money back. But that it doesn't take 2 months to do that. You know what I'm saying?
If you do a BURR method, do you have to have all the money for that property up front? Is there, in other words, if you bought a house for $100K, do you have to come up with $100K cash to buy that house in order to refinance it once you do the rehab to it?
Are you asking me? Because if you tell me that the other people that say it, say yeah. Nah, so you do not. There's programs, they're hard money loans. There's so many ways to get the 100K if you needed it.
You can use regular financing, put down 25%. So my thing is, and I want to piggyback what you were saying, you got to know the market. All right.
Absolutely.
Your market. You buy something at market value, it's going to be hard for you to do the BURR method. You want to buy it under the market value, like just Jerry was saying. Because if you buy that market value, then you put more money into it, and then you can't get over the market value, you're stuck. Mm-hmm. You're stuck.
Right. And that's an upside down deal for you.
You don't want to do that, at all. But
unless it's calculated, unless you're doing something and you have the calculation in mind that you're only going to get 80% of loan to value, 75% loan to value, and you're okay with overspending and not getting all your
money back.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, DT. But you're seasoned to tell you that. A green investor is not doing that. A green investor is not thinking that.
Here's the thing: it's not about being a green investor or seasoned investor. It's what you hear online. Well, I mean, I guess let me take that back because it is right. Because what you hear online and what you hear DT through your ears, mm-hmm. you can filter everything.
It's totally different. Yeah, totally different. And
so you're right, Jerry. I apologize. When you're green, you hear, oh, I put all my money in, I get all my money back. Oh, and I could pocket 10, and I got renters, and they're paying down this, and I can go do it. You're like, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Yep.
It's a no-brainer. What do you mean? I put money back in, I get all my money back, maybe a little more chicken, right? And then I get to go do it again.
So what the world tells you is you could buy a property, rehab it, put renters in, refi, and repeat. And they make it seem like it's 3 to 4 months. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work that way.
What are some hurdles that one would go through? If somebody was told that you could
nothing at all, DT.
What are the hurdles one can go through, to prove that not to be actual fact?
You buying the property could take 30 days to 90 days. So that's already one hurdle. You rehabbing could take 3 months to 6 months. That's another hurdle. So that automatically just had you around 9 months. Mm. You thinking you're doing it in 4. You calculated it, you was going to do it in 4 without knowing.
What about the banks?
Oh, the banks are the best friends, man.
What about finding the renters? I mean, like all this.
Why do you say that, Lance?
Because at the end of the day, I mean, I know a lot of people. We've done other businesses together, right? And we've relied on workers, and other people. And you think just because you have the startup money to start the business and lay down the foundation that, the workers just come. And it's not always like that. And it's the same thing for, tenants. You put a tenant in there, or finding a tenant that you feel is the proper tenant may take some time. It may take some time. It's not like you don't rehab and you go, okay, come on. You might go, man, this was not good. This one doesn't check out. This one checks out, but man, they've only had this job for 30 days. You know, they've had 6 jobs the past year. I mean, you going through that vetting process might take you 2-3 months to get somebody else in.
Why is that relevant in the BURR conversation? Because I know there's a point to it.
Absolutely. So you cannot go ahead and complete that BURR method without having a tenant in there.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot have that income that they're giving you has to be accounted for. You have to show the bank that.
Yeah.
The bank is going to go, great, but how much is the tenant paying you a month? Oh, I don't have a tenant. Oh, okay. So come back when you do.
Well, we won't refi that one, but you got another one?
You got another one? We'll do that. Another one? You want us to refi it off potential. Oh, okay. Wrong business, sir. I appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah, maybe another
there's other things that the bank would do if you're not, your paperwork is not right, if your money is not right, if you don't show that you could extend the payments without the tenant, you're not refinancing that house. They're not going to improve you.
That's another part.
So there's a lot of things that go into the BURR method that people really don't, and we do not want to steer you away from BURR method. We just want to give you the real to understand when you jump into the BURR method, it's not a 1, 2, 3 deal.
So in a nutshell, what would your advice be to somebody who's going to go, thinking about the BURR method? What would be like 3 or 4 key points that you would say, pay attention, do this, and make sure of that?
I got 4 points.
Of course you do.
Wow. He takes a sip. Wow. All right.
H.G.R.G.
Drop the mic, kid.
H.G.R.G.
That's a fact.
Don't forget
I would say
dot.
my answer to my own question would be number one, know your banks, right? Know the banks that you're looking to refinance with. Know what their stipulations are. Are your banks going to allow you to refinance a property right away? Do they make that property seasoned for 6 months, 90 days, a year? Because that's going to change everything for you. You might have everything, the contractors, the pricing, you might have everything done in 90 days. But if your bank makes that property seasoned in your LLC, your name, and your ownership, you're stuck.
When you say seasoned, what do you mean by that?
Season means you have to own it. It has to be within your possession or the LLC or the corporation in which you operate under a business name as. It has to be in that title for a minimum frame of whatever the banks require.
And what's the average of that? What's the average amount of a deed being in your name?
6 months is probably the average. 6 months is probably the average. I know banks that do it in other ways, but for the most part, 6 months is the average.
Correct.
For sure.
Correct.
So know your banks would be number one. Number two probably is more important than knowing your banks is knowing the market.
Yep.
Because if you buy a property with the pretenses that it's worth 100K, and in truth, you bought it with the understanding that the after repair value is 100K. So you paid whatever 50, 60K for it. You put 30, 40 into it. So you're all in at 90 on an investment property, and you think you're going to get your 90K back. You're wrong, because you only get 70, 75% loan to value.
Correct.
You're lucky you make 80% loan to value. So 80% of 90 grand is 100 grand is not 90. So just be clear to that.
Very clear. Yep, that's a great point. I want to emphasize that real quick. I don't mean to stop you. I know you got other points, but that's why I piggybacked off just Jerry with the market. Know your market. Like you said, DT, if you're okay with getting back, you put in 90 and getting back 70,000 and you got your property and you're cool with that, roll. But if you're thinking what you're hearing online and you're thinking that you're getting everything back, maybe even a little more, understand your market. So that property you just said it's got to be 150. It can't be 100. The ARV, after repair value, like you said, and you guys should know this now at this point, it's the ARV has to be, this amount to get this amount back. Know your numbers and know your market. That's how you know your numbers.
Correct.
Sorry about that. Go ahead. Point three.
Know what I learned, which was an eye opener for me when I did my first BURR, was holding costs. I never factored in true holding costs. I just thought mortgage is $1,000 a month. If I hold that property for 6 months, I paid $6,000. So I got to incorporate that in my refi. So now when I get refi, I got to make sure that I get 6,000 more than, so that I'm good. No, there's water bills, there's utility bills, there's insurance bills, there's refuse bills, all of the above things that I never really factored in. And that bill is not just a one-time bill. If you hold it for 6 months, that bill is, you have 6 of those bills. So you got to, make sure you factor that in. And depending on the months of the year, with utilities and all that stuff, just make sure you factor in all of the holding costs. Don't just think I always say 100K just because it's an easy number. You paid 100K for a house. My holding costs are, my mortgage is 1,000. So I'm going to pay 106,000 out of pocket. No, factor in the rest. You know what I'm saying? Your true is probably like 120. So in order for you to get all your money back, this house has to appraise at like 150.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can get your whole 120 back. If you're lucky, it's at 160, 170, and you get a couple dollars, extra in your pocket. So that would be point number 3 that I would say is super, super, super important to factor in. Because on one flip, I remember I did a
story time with DT.
A BURR, and I was like, oh, the numbers are, look at this, and I showed it to my lady. She was like, all right, and then we got the check. She was like, yesterday's price is not today's price, Ma.
Not today's price.
That ain't the number you told me. And I was like, damn.
You know what I messed up at? What happened was
and then sure enough, it was, I didn't factor in the utilities and all that other stuff. So that's a real life experience. And then tip number 4 would definitely be to make sure when you purchase a property with the intentions for it to being a BURR, make sure that property is a BURR type property, right? Make sure that the value is there. It's kind of pigtails off of, know your market, but it's a little bit more in depth because, you can't buy a property you're paying top dollar for it. And you're going to think that you can put more money into it. Now you're going to be the most expensive house in the neighborhood and they're going to appraise it for that same value. It doesn't work like that.
Right. The market determines that, not you.
100%. Let me add one more point to that.
You ain't gonna add nothing to mine. This is your point.
I'm definitely adding to yours. Know your contractor.
Ooh.
Dan's 5th point.
Because if you do not know if your contractor really could do a rehab, you are going to go
under
and spend. I'm not gonna talk about my experience. Lance, you speak
$30,000 more dollars than what you did.
You can speak about your
up today on this podcast, man. So maybe
I'm not gonna speak to my experience because everybody in this circle right here is gonna laugh at me. I'm not gonna talk about it again.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this though: if you do not know your contractor, you're going to spend more money buying another contractor because he's going to have to fix whatever your contractor didn't do.
Yeah, all that BURR shit you talking about, there's no longer BURR.
More BURR.
There's no more BURR.
What do you do to check that? How do you, somebody listening to you, how do they protect themselves? Just give them a tip. Maybe.
Yeah, you create layers. Create layers.
Yes,
you have everybody check on each other. You're real good with a realtor. And you have a contractor working on something, have a realtor go over there, have them give you a report. Hey, man, what's it look like? Hey, man, X, Y, and Z, because these guys are knowledgeable as well. Maybe not as knowledgeable as the contractor, but knowledgeable. Hey, man, yeah, it looks like he's doing a good job. I still see the stairs outside are messed up. Looks like, a couple cabinets still need to be done, but,
But to add to that, just tell them to take pictures or videos.
Yeah, or pictures and video. Exactly. That's huge, and then they give you a rundown. And then after you send your realtor, send your property manager. Hey, man, do you got time to, maybe go to Thursday to go, to 123 Main Street for me?
Absolutely. We have a property. We have a property about to be in your hands. I want you to double check to see how it looks. Give me your analysis on it. See if it's doable or not.
Tell me what you think my rents are going to be.
Correct. Something similar. Something similar.
Hey, man, by the way, can you take some pictures for me as well? And, give me a breakdown of what you see. I know you know this well. So all of a sudden,
you don't
take notes. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
You don't even have to tell the person that's doing the layer that he's going to be watching the next person.
Right.
He's going to be innocent just talking to you. and going, yo, I don't know what they did to this, but it doesn't work like this, and the roof doesn't look like this. Innocent, because he's trying to be as best as he can be, and you're finding out a lot more than just trying to be sneaky about certain things.
And there's like things that I would recommend too is like when you're doing a BURR, depending on type of work that you have to put into it, interior, exterior, gutters, driveways, sidewalks, and all that stuff, you know, contractors check themselves without even knowing it, right? So when you have somebody working on, you know, your interior property and you got to do your driveway, you got to blacktop your driveway. When you send that person over to blacktop your driveway, hey, can you do me a favor and check up on, you know, make sure the doors are locked or whatever the case may be. Peek inside, make sure everything's okay. Did you see anything? How did it look? And then, hey, it looked good. It looks like a construction site. Looks like it's a bunch of stuff out the way. You know, just stuff like that is always mindful and helpful. And that's also a networking. That's also networking as well. Because, you know, you send somebody over there to simply just blacktop your driveway, and little do you know, his brother is probably a roofer or a gutter or best friend. You know what I mean? You get contractors like that, and you always, you know, you network that way too. So that's a huge point that definitely assists with any, not just BURR method, but any part of real estate.
Yeah.
So layer, man. I'm not going to sit up here and say that, you know, we're one of the few that do it. I'm not sure, but we're out of state investors, and we had to figure out what worked for us. You know, and that worked for us, having people check on each other without them even knowing that they're checking on them. They're just reporting back to us. Then we're taking all the notes and all the information, data that we gathered, and then we're figuring out if the job is getting done correctly. You know, because you as the contractor told me that the floors were done, but I sent my property manager in there and my realtor in there, and they both told me that the floors are not done. Right. So now I know the floors are not done. So now we have an issue, and now we got to talk about it.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? So that's how you do it. That's it. You can't just leave one. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket, right? It's the same thing.
Good point. One would say, you know, why would a contractor tell you the floors are done and the realtor tell you they're not, and the so-and-so tell you
Go ahead, DT. Yeah.
Why is because depending on the type of negotiation or deal you guys got going on amongst each other, meaning you, the owner, me, the contractor, typically you get paid in draws. Right. So I get paid when I finish a certain amount of work. So if I tell you that I finished, you know, 35% of the work, I expect a check. If I'm doing a job for $9,000, I use that number for a reason. It comes in 3 draws. I need a deposit of $3,000. When I'm 50% done, I get another $3,000. When I'm 100% done, I get the rest of the $3,000. So of course I'm going to tell you I'm 50% done so I can get my $3,000. So you got to make sure, you know, you know, yes. You have levels in which check each part.
That is huge, man. That is huge to even say that. That's freaking huge.
You never want to just take a job for $30,000, give up the whole $30,000 and just hope on the star that job gets done.
Right.
Well, H.G.R.G, since you guys are so smart, you know, well, how does the contractor get by on that in the first place? If he has floors to do, why don't you have him just take video of the floors? Well, let's say he does, but he has a lot of flooring to do, you know, in different parts of the house and rooms, but he does nice portions of a video for us and shows us, you know, and starts skipping over a couple rooms that he didn't do, but we're over here looking at, you know, the type of work that's done, and we're going, great.
Call that the catfishing of contract.
Come on, man. Come on.
Catfishing of contract.
So say what you want. We've been through it. Question what you want in the comments. It doesn't matter. We've been through it.
I didn't even want to laugh about it because I know I've been through it. I know I've been through it. So
1,500 square foot of flooring. You take a video of 800 square feet. Hey man, I sent you a done picture and I took the craziest angles. I changed the light. The one room was dark, one room was bright. It was the same room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lighting and the angles, you know what I mean? I took my first video was from up here. My second video down here.
He's got an aerial view, a first person view. Hey, but it happens, man. It happens.
It does happen.
It happens. So, you know, and that's why we're here with you guys, you know, and this is why this podcast I feel is so, you know, it's so meaningful to people that are new or people that are in it that want to expand, you know, out of state and stuff. You know, these are gems that we're giving you, you know, no pun intended. But I will go ahead.
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna go move on to something else. So what were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was going to say, do you think the BURR method is for the green, never done anything before in real estate, jump right into it? This is how I want to get into it.
No method is just for one person, right? Just Jerry?
I was gonna say, I would say yes and no. So it's because no, if you don't have the right people into place, the right team, it might hurt you. You might go through the rough path like we did. But if you do have the right team, this is a no-brainer. If you do it right, everything comes back. You do it again, you have 2 properties in a year. The average of 6 months of the deed, but you have 2 properties in a year. So every year you have 2. Your portfolio you will get a portfolio very fast. So yes,
all on the same money though.
Yes,
all on the
absolutely.
same money.
Yes.
If you have different money, now you can start doing it. So speaking, that's a great segue. So speaking of that, since just Jerry and I had different money, so we want to do the BURR too, but we want to do the BURR with 1 million properties. Right. I don't want to say no. What it's a decent amount of properties for a big number. Right. And I'll just Jerry, stop me if you want me to stop the story.
I'm not stopping you. If you it's story time with Lance right now. Go ahead.
It's story time with Lance. So just Jerry and I think with Trump. I use that loosely, but we think with Trump. So when we do our taxes, we take advantage of us having LLCs and businesses, and we take our losses and whatnot. And, it just, our taxes don't show, what our income could possibly be because of the losses as well. Right. If that makes sense.
And when you say losses, do you do that on purpose or?
Yeah. So instead of giving it to the government, I'm going to do 2 new roofs. Instead of me paying it out of pocket. It's almost like what's his name that bought the plane because he was gonna take it.
I'm not telling you that, guy.
What's his name? What's his name again?
I'm not going to say
it.
DT.
DT, did I lose you?
Grant Cardone.
Yeah, he's doing it on purpose, bro. What are you talking about?
What was that?
Greg Cardone, bro.
Grant Cardone. There you go, Grant Cardone. My guy, Grant Cardone. But so Grant Cardone bought a private jet, because he's got to take a loss somewhere. So that way he rather buy that than pay taxes. So just Jerry and I have done the same thing. Not buy jets, but stuff our properties where we take losses at the end of the year. So we decide last year that, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the BURR method with all the properties with a lot of properties that we own. We're going to do a blanket, a blanket loan.
Refi.
Yep. A blanket refi loan. Right. And we're going to pull all this money out, and we're really going to go ahead and play this following year for real. And we get through the process. And when we submit our taxes, they're like, you guys can't afford to pull out. I mean, I don't want to say a number. It's a really high number. It's a really, really high number, right? So the number's really high. It's a huge number that most people will never see in their lives. And when we got to it, the nitty gritty, they're like, nah.
What do you do? This is a hobby for you?
We can't. Show us the money that you make. I mean, we did everything. I mean, we did the BURR method. We started fixing up everything. Here, let's put this on. Let's clean everything up. DT. Let's clean all this stuff up. Let's get tenants everywhere. Bum, bum, bum. Even one of the properties, we had 1 property left that we didn't have a tenant. And DT's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, listen, just throw somebody in there right now. Don't tell Jerry. Just put somebody in there quick. We're going through the whole 9, and then when we get there and we're looking at that big number for that big check, because he can, do the loosely give you an estimate of what you're going to be paying a month and what that cash out looks like. And we're like, let's go, let's do it.
We all in.
And once they got the tax returns, they're like, There's no way in hell because you can't afford it. And I'm like, well, here's our rent roll.
Yeah, do you see what we make, bro?
Here's
What are you talking about?
Here's stubs, pay stubs. Here's all kinds of what more do you need? And if your taxes don't, this is what I'm saying is you need to have everything in line when you do this stuff. Even as seasoned as we are, we thought we could get by, and doing something, and we misstepped. We misstepped because the number was so great and our taxes show so little that it just didn't add up. So you guys, that's another thing. If you're doing the BURR method and you don't have your taxes right, or you don't have, the income to show that you can afford, then you may not have that. You might be stuck and you can't pull your money back out. This is real life. That's stuff that they're not going to tell you about, on other podcasts or on YouTube. I don't want to kill the podcasts, but, on YouTube where it sounds, ABC 1, 2, 3, and you can move. What happens when you run into that?
That's my next question. Are you when that happened? I know it was in the past. It's not like it's right now, but was that a dead end for you, or did you figure out a way?
Listen, it took all the air out of my balloon, but then just Jerry.
We're always gonna figure it out. To
be. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna take it home with this because DT, just Jerry and myself, we got on a call, and I was a little down about it, like damn, and just Jerry being the bull he is, and then you obviously being very very seasoned out of all three of us, we're like, this is not, it can't stop here, and so we made the adjustments. Make the adjustments, and that's that. So there's always a way.
What's the answer that he's looking for? Just go back to your CPA and make it right. Your CPA will help you get everything right.
Right. And that's like, that's a true statement. That's really what your situation was, CPA, make it right. So now, a lot of times we do things. I'm going outside of you guys. I'm even going to a personal situation myself, not going into the story, but I had a similar situation where I had a plan and my plan didn't coincide with what my financial background looked like at the time. So I had to go to my CPA and find out how to make my financial background substantiate where I'm trying to go. And that meant that I had to go back and amend some of my taxes. I had to go back.
It's not, we're not saying we don't have the money to show.
Nor are
we are showing you.
I didn't so my bad to cut you off, G. My CPA now is not the CPA I had before.
Absolutely not. Mine's either.
My CPA before was like, they did what they knew best, and they did what I don't know what they know. I didn't go to school with them. I didn't give them their certificate or whatever what the case may be. But my CPA before wasn't as seasoned in real estate and tax law in my market as my new CPA. So my new CPA overlooked what my old CPA did and said, this is where you messed up.
And that CPA is your CPA when you mess with H.G.R.G.
100%.
Our CPA, this is what I'm trying to tell everybody. Our CPA, the one that's bailing us out, right? Because we misstepped before we had them, is on the team and is available to you. HGRG.club. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead. Sorry.
Absolutely. So what we're not saying is we're not telling you we don't have the money. We're supposed to do what we got to do to keep the money.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So when we try to keep the money, you got to do a couple things to make sure you keep the money. And that could bite you in your ass, is what I'm trying to tell you. So that's what happened, and we figured it out. We're pushing through it.
Which is another thing that we teach as people come through and take this mentorship, this course, this class. We always say, we went through it so you don't, right? So we spent the last so many years doing things and thinking this is the right way. Now we stand corrected. We know what the right way is. So somebody coming in, or even somebody that's already seasoned, we can advise, hey, listen, that ain't what you want. This is the way, because we were advised and we went through it. We did, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead, G, my fault.
No, I was not. You're right. Absolutely.
That's where we get some of our answers from, man. Believe it or not, we didn't roll out of bed with all the answers. It's the people around us. It's us having these questions. Even sometimes to this day, we might be all talking and go, man, that's a great question. You know what? Let's call so-and-so. We're the experts, because we're around the experts. You see what I'm saying? We're the bridge to all these people. We know what it is to expect from a realtor, but our realtor really knows how to be a realtor. You see what I'm saying? Like we can answer CPA questions, right? But our CPA really knows how to be a CPA. They know how to guide you for real. It's everything. Our property management. We can tell you about property management. We can tell you what to expect, the expectations. But our property management is really going to manage those properties for you, the way they do ours. We're the bridge. Period. And that's just what we are.
And what solidifies us is that when someone in that circle didn't do the right thing, we knew enough about that field to tell them and change. You know what? You're not doing the right thing. I got to switch you out. You're not the right part. You're not the right fit to this team. And most people
plug and play.
Right.
Plug and play.
And most people that come to our, meant for our mentorship, that ask us, call us, that are part of our team and our family and our alumni, that's 90% of the problem. They have the idea, they have a couple people around them. None, some, or all of them ain't right for them. It's just not the right fit, because you got people just telling you what they think, what they heard, what their friend told them, not really true, actual facts. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that goes for everything: tax laws, real estate, mortgages, banking, down payments, what this market's like, what that market's like. Somebody today talking about the stock market, how they're put, this much in the stock market, and they lost a shit ton of money in the last few months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're talking about me. Don't talk about me in front of me, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Kick yourself, and you just wish you would have just put that money in real estate. So, but you listen to who you listen to, how you invest is how you invest. There's no right, wrong, or ugly. As long as you're investing, you're winning. Nevertheless, real estate.
1,000%. So my last question to you guys would be: is a BURR method a good method to get into real estate?
To get into it, my answer to get into real estate is the BURR method, a good method. Yep. If you have a team around you, the question is yes. The answer is yes. If you don't, the answer would be careful.
Or partner up with somebody that knows what they're doing, that's done it before. Say it again.
For that person to create their own team.
Right. Partner up with someone else that, that has contractors and stuff like that. And you just want to, dabble in there as well, maybe go 50-50 with that person. Just there's plenty of ways to do it. Or, or another way you could, like I said, H.G.R.G. Or that's the best way. Or you could not and just take the lumps and take the losses, or you might get lucky and slide through.
Learn from our dumbass mistakes and figure it out and make your own mistakes. And what it is that, that's another option as well.
Another option is this: you want to get your ass beat, good. I mean, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. I feel it in my soul. Trust me when I talk about it. It hurts. But
we do.
That's why we do this for you guys. Whether you take from it, whether you don't take from it, or whatever you take from it. So it's on you. The onus is on you at this point. But we're here for you guys always at HGRG.club. I'm gonna keep plugging that. So it's just, we're the real deal. Our team is real. We're real. You get the full ride and the full experience with us. But once again, fellas, you guys got anything else on the BURR menu? The BURR method.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just tell you when you get into the BURR method, just if you want to do the BURR method, just do your research. Knowledge is the key. If you do not want to do, and then I'm gonna tell you that, and then I'm gonna tell you this, but if you want to get into real estate and you want to use the BURR method, use it. Knowledge, and knowledge is not enough, because they could teach you everything, but they don't teach you on hands what's going on everyday, day-to-day contracts, banks, tenants. They don't teach you day-to-day things. So yes, we could teach you everything on books, but when you get out in that field, it kills you. So just knowledge, and make sure you have that too. On my side.
Yeah. If you're looking for that that hand-to-hand, somebody to hold your hand, plug and play system, tried and true, stand behind ours, over 30 years experience, 3 success stories, along with other success stories that come from this, H.G.R.G.club. That's it.
DT said hand-to-hand. Oh, we out here pushing real estate. Listen, guys, we appreciate it. Episode 33 in the books, the BURR method. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it like we enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. What they saying? I'm so divine, imperfection, perfection, my presence shines. My mental is parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine, imperfection, perfection, my presence shines.